Welcome back to the Drive the Lane podcast, and we have a special edition of the Drive the Lane podcast for you today. We have the first ever Walk-On Chronicles Part 1. We talked to a bunch of different walk-ons. Joey, who do we talk to?
We talked to Zach Bush. We talked to Mike Latulip. We talked to Brett Rau, all from different schools, all with much different paths to becoming a walk-on, all with very unique stories about being a walk-on.
An awesome episode, the Walk-On Chronicles Part 1. Of course, sponsored by High Street Tees. Joey and I are heading to Columbus this weekend for the Penn State game. You can catch us in our High Street Tees gear, whether it's our customized shirts or our threes shirts. We're always repping High Street Tees. We love the shirts, and we love saving you, our fans, some money. HighStreetTees.com/DTL. Promo code DTL15 is how you can get 15% off of your entire order. The shirts are so comfortable. I'm wearing one right now, and I'm comfy as hell. We love the shirts. Rep the bars that you have been to. High Street Tees, a toast to Ohio State's past, present, and if you're lucky, the future. HighStreetTees.com/DTL, promo code DTL15, 15% off. Buckle up, drive the lane, Walk-On Chronicles. Let's go.
All right. Now, when we say we have a special podcast for you guys, a special episode, we really, really mean it. Obviously, it's near and dear to my heart. This is part 1 of the Walk-On Chronicles. Now, what exactly does that mean? Well, we got together some of the greatest walk-ons the NCAA has ever seen to hear their stories about how they became a walk-on, their stories about their first bucket as a walk-on, and even some unique stories that maybe they haven't told the rest of the public. Obviously, you've heard some awesome stories from me, but we wanted you guys to hear it from other people. You know, now people are asking, why, Joey? Why do we want to hear from the walk-ons? Well, college basketball is here. Not only is college basketball here, but non-conference is here. When do walk-ons play the most? Non-conference. When Gonzaga's up by 45 points, the walk-ons are playing, and that's happening as we speak. Unfortunately, Kentucky wasn't lucky enough, and usually a game where the walk-ons get in when they play a school like Evansville, they actually lost. So this is a really cool episode because you hear some unique perspectives and all the stories that I've told about being a walk-on, you'll realize, okay, those kind of make sense, you know?
Yeah, definitely. You know, we're working on some cool and different things for the show, and this is just another example of something that you're really not going to get anywhere else. You're not going to get 5 walk-ons talking about their stories. You're not going to get the inside scoop of behind-the-scenes stuff on a NCAA tournament team, on a national champion contending team. So this is something special that we think is going to go over very well with you guys, and then we'll do it again.
Right.
'Cause that's what you do with good things. You do them again.
And hopefully if the people want more, we'll give them more. So like I kind of said, we talked about how they became a walk-on, their first basket, and a cool story. So I guess I'll start by sharing that, and then Zoldan will do the same thing because he has some great stories himself about his basketball experiences. But for me, in terms of becoming a walk-on, I'll keep it short because you guys know I went to an Ohio State team camp going into my senior year of high school, played really well. The coaches, long story short, wanted to help me out, but they didn't necessarily offer me a spot as a walk-on. I sent them my tape throughout high school. Boom, they offered me a spot, and the rest is history. I had my heart set on playing Division III basketball, and then when the opportunity presented itself to play my dream school, that's when it was a no-brainer for me. Usually it's the reverse. Most walk-ons either are like Division I school or bust, or they're willing to play anywhere where they can have a scholarship or whatever, unless it's a Division I. I was all about just let me play basketball in college. So I think that was a little unique in terms of that. As far as my first basket goes, that was against Mercer my freshman year. Let's see. I'm trying to set the scene for you guys. I had missed like 7 threes earlier in the year already, something crazy like that. I was the only walk-on on the team, so like when I went in the game, the fans were obviously going nuts, but they also were specifically going nuts for me because they just wanted me to chuck something up like every time I went in the game, and I wanted it to be a good shot, but I definitely fell in that trap and was chucking up stuff all the time and not getting the greatest looks. So Offensive rebound, Mickey Mitchell kicks it out to me, and I get a great look from the top of the key. I hit it. If you can picture this, I go from the follow-through instantly to the three in my right hand. And not only was that really, really cool to get my first basket, I had some of my best friends come in town because it was over winter break. I had some of my best buddies come in to see it live, and we actually did not get a single second of sleep that night. I could not stop smiling, and we were having a blast. So that's my bucket story. That's my walk-on story. I don't want to give away too many stories because I want to save it when we have guests. Like, I have a great walk-on story around Coach Mata, who hopefully we'll have on at some point. I have a great walk-on story with Coach Holtman, obviously, another person that we'll have on in the future. Even like, a guy like Greg Oden, maybe we have him on in the future. Another great story with him. Even like D'Angelo Russell, who definitely would be awesome to have on, not promising anything, have an awesome walk-on story about him. So the list goes on, and I want to save those. But I'll do a walk-on story that is unique, but it also gives you a taste of just how walk-on life is. My freshman year, we would do zigzag drill, and there was 12 guys, and it evened out so that there was one big that needed a partner and one guard that needed a partner. And that was Daniel Giddens, who ended up being one of my best friends on the team my freshman year. And so DG, of course, was he wanted me to be his partner for zigzag drill. So, okay. We do the zigzags, and I mean, it's not. He's 7 foot. I'm a short white guy. All I can do is handle the ball, and I go past him, and then I wait for him to come back. I go past him, and Coach Dickerson, who's now the head coach at University of South Carolina Upstate, he goes, "DG, that's a fucking Division III basketball player that's blowing by you. He's a fucking Division III basketball player." So that kind of sets the scene of what life is like as a walk-on. They thought I was a Division III basketball player, but I was actually giving one of their prized recruits the business. So I don't know how those correlate necessarily, but DG will tell you that I was the furthest thing from a Division III player on that team. But Coach Dickerson, we laugh about that every time I talk to him. I go, "Hey, Coach D, I end up having a pretty good career. You think I still belong to D3 player?" He goes, "Oh, Joey, I was just trying to get the guys fired up." Little Coach Owen in my Coach Dickerson impersonation. But Coach D is the best. So that's my little story. I have so many, but I can't give them away.
I wrote a story on Joey. I think it was his sophomore year.
Sure, I was still in the dorms.
My sophomore year, we're the same age, and
yeah, we are.
He was almost too big time by then for me. I was like, "Hey man, want to do a story?" Blah blah. He was like, "Yeah, take it up with the SID. Here's his number. If he says it's fine, then I guess we can do something." So he was even too big time then. So for his big time head to hear that he was a Division III player, probably didn't make him too happy.
I was the most humble walk-on ever. In terms of I knew my role. I wasn't there demanding for playing time. I wasn't there trying to go one-on-one when I got reps in practice. I was like, all right, I know I'm there to move the ball and box out and make the right pass and play really hard and dive on the floor and cheer people on, and that's what I was going to do. So yeah, the Division III comment more so, it didn't hurt my ego, it just hurt my feelings. So yeah, take that.
Yeah, now I know how to get under your skin. I might have to call you a Division III player or something like that.
Now it doesn't matter because
now we're all just old.
Yeah, I mean, I wish I was a Division III player. I'd love to get some basketball in nowadays, but
so we always talk about trying to be relatable.
Yeah, Zoldan, please relate to this story.
Right. There's only a handful of people who are relatable to walk-ons.
Well, I don't want to cut you off, but let me just say this. The coolest thing that me and my dad thought of going into my freshman year on the drive to Ohio State for moving day, I said, "Dad, you know what's really cool? There's a ton of scholarship players in the NCAA. If you're just looking at just basketball, most of the guys are on scholarship. There are even fewer walk-ons. So I'm even more unique."
You're more in the minority than the scholarship players.
Okay, sorry.
Well, no, I was just going to say there's probably a lot of people out there who enjoy playing basketball, and maybe we're not.
Shout out basketball, great game.
Maybe we're not lucky enough to grace the presence of a Division I team. So I'll give you a story from my rec league days. Quick, brief story. Go ahead and skip it if you want. But
A brief hit the times two real quick.
Brief story from my rec league days. Rec league playoffs last year. All right. My fraternity is playing another fraternity.
What fraternity are you in?
I will not disclose the name of the fraternities in case these guys are listening. I don't want them to get upset. And for those of you who don't know what I look like or only see pictures, a little more heavy set than Joey, lugging around.
We have different builds.
Lugging around a little extra weight, by no means heavy, but by no means skinny. Maybe a little slim thick.
He's husky.
Maybe a little slim thick, husky.
Double C's.
We're playing a fraternity, and I hit a 3.
Yeah, you did.
And some guy not even in the game, watching the game, goes, let that guy shoot after I make a shot, okay? This guy's not in the game. So I make another shot, okay?
You look over at him.
Look over at him. Make another shot, look over at him. And then the ball goes out of bounds to him. And I go up and grab it. And we start jawing at each other, going back and forth. Like, literally, like, this guy's like, I'll play you one-on-one right now. And I'm like, I'm in the middle of a game. Obviously, I can't play you one-on-one right now. And the ref's like separating us, and I'm barking at this guy. He's barking back at me, and he's like, nah, man, like, I'll play you one-on-one for $100, blah, 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 all that stuff. And he was like, let me get your number. And I don't know what came over my head, but I was like, ask your girl for my number.
Ooh, that's good.
And then we're playing these guys again. They're like, he's like literally screaming like, oh, like, let the fat ass shoot, blah, blah, like shit like that. And scoring again, looking at him. Finally, I hit a 3, turn to him, and lift my jersey up and my shirt and just show it to him. Basically flashing this guy at the Mizzou rec. And he got thrown out of the rec, and then we won the game. So that's my rec league claim to fame.
I thought that you were going to say when the ball bounced him out of bounds, I thought you were going to be like, hey, you shoot it, see what happens.
Like when Carmelo went to shoot.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. But I mean, that was my, I have a friend who did a podcast at Mizzou, and he was watching the game, and he was reffing the game, and he told that story on his podcast.
Whoa.
Yeah. So now that story has been told on 2 podcasts.
Just reaching a gigantic audience.
And if you skipped to this point, you just missed one of the craziest stories.
Oh my God. Are they okay?
They're okay. All right,
that's good. At least no one died.
So we're gonna now get to the Walk-On Chronicles.
Let me briefly, before we get there, let me give you background on each guy. Give them their school, how I know them.
Don't give away too much.
Right, of course. So I don't know what you guys want to know, but here's what I'll tell you. We have Mike Latulip, who played at Illinois, was an outstanding high school player in Illinois. He had numerous mid-major offers, decided to go to the highest level of basketball he could go to at Illinois. Had some run at Illinois, played on some really good teams, some really average teams. Eventually transferred to Wright State and had a great career there. I know Mike, obviously, because he's from my area. We have Brett Rau, who went to Missouri. Shout out my co-host, Andrew Zolden. I don't know if you guys know, but he went to Missouri, so he insisted on having Brett on. Luckily, Brett is one of my good buddies because at Missouri, one of my closest friends was also a walk-on there, but we chose to talk to Brett because Wolf was probably busy because Wolf is Wolf. But anyway, talked to Brett, and we talked to him about everything to do with Missouri. And finally, Zach Bush, ZB, who played at Wichita State, was teammates with Ron Baker, Fred Van Fleet, and he's got some really cool stories about them. The walk-on fraternity exists. Zolden was in a fraternity. So was I. The walk-on fraternity, there's tons of guys. Not everyone is from the walk-on fraternity in this, but there's an unspoken bond between these dudes, and you'll hear in these stories that we relate to a lot of the same things. So it was cool to get a chance to hear some of their other stories, some that I heard, some that I haven't heard, because it's good to prove to you guys that the lives that walk-ons lives are real. It's happening. It's not just an excuse to pity us. It's tougher than the average college person's life. So, yeah, man, it's a super, super special episode, near and dear to my heart. If you guys like it, you will like it. It'll happen again. But without further ado, let's bring on the walk-ons.
Buckle up, drive the lane.
All right. We now welcome on to the Drive the Lane podcast a close personal friend of mine, a member of the walk-on fraternity, Zach Bush. You might know him as ZB. He is a former player for the Wichita State Shockers. Zach, how we doing, man?
Doing good, brother. How are you?
Well, living the dream, living the dream. So Zach is a part of this little group chat, little cult that we have called the Walk-On Fraternity. It's me and a bunch of guys from all over the country, from Wichita State to Texas to Gonzaga. The list goes on and on and on. But everyone's story is unique in that walk-on fraternity. So, Zach, why don't you tell us a little bit about how you became a walk-on?
So, originally out of high school, my senior year, I signed with a Division II school. I'm from Wichita. Signed with a Division II school in Kansas. Had kind of been loosely recruited by Wichita State. One of my former AAU teammates, kind of a walk-on legend, I think we can call it now, Ron Baker. We played AAU together. Yeah, exactly. Ron had, they found him late at Wichita. They didn't have a scholarship left, so they talked him into coming out there, walking on, redshirting for a year, and then getting put on scholarship later. So they kind of, tried to sell me on the same dream. They liked me, but not quite enough to offer me a scholarship. I think still had some questions about me, wanted to see, what I could do. So I ended up changing my mind in the middle of the summer, which now I'm a GA. I see how destructive that can be for a program, which back then I didn't understand. But my Division II coach I had signed with was telling my mother she was a bad mother and I was never going to make it. And basically just let me fucking have it. Back then I didn't get it, but I see it from the other side now. And it was probably a pretty shitty thing to do, but turned out pretty good. But so I ended up at Wichita State. I think in my first practice, I was called a jerk off in a Shocker jersey. So that was pretty eye-opening. Not quite as fun at that point as I thought it might be. I'm thinking what the hell did I just get myself into? Brutal first year, but all made worth it by capping that year with a Final Four run. So after that, I was pretty much willing to put up with any shit they would give me. So.
And that Final Four run included an Elite Eight win over who?
Oh, it's hard to do it to you, but I'm not sorry. I love it. Ohio State. The Ohio State Buckeyes. Yeah. Sorry to you. Sorry to Lorbach. My bad, guys, but had to do it.
Hey, man, shit happens. No worries. Maybe we'll get you back at some point. But we really want to hear what your best stories are from your time as a walk-on, because not only did you have some, incredible moments team-wise, you had some pretty cool teammates, whether it's Fred VanVleet or Ron Baker, who we already talked about. Are there any moments in your time at Wichita that stands out to you?
My God, if only you knew. I literally wish I had written down everything that happened, because I swear it could have been. We could have wrote a book. JR and I talk about it all the time. But from the off the wall things, Coach Marshall says, to just things that happen in the locker room. I have some of the goofiest, funniest teammates ever, but I think what everybody would want to hear is kind of the Coach Marshall stories without giving away too much to get me in trouble. I think one of the best ones I can remember is we played Oklahoma State at home, JR and I's senior year. I can't remember. Oh, okay. So it was right after Ron and Fred had graduated. And so everybody didn't really know, how good we're going to be. We end up, getting to the tournament. We beat Dayton first round, lose by 2 to Kentucky second round. So I had a really good year. But start of the year, non-con, we play Oklahoma State at home and just get our ass beat. Juwan Evans and Jeff Carroll, leaguers, just getting right against us. We lost by about 18. After the game, Coach Marshall held us in there for 30 minutes, and he's just going off. And he finishes his tirade with, this is what you guys did tonight. He just turned around, turns around, bends over, spreads his cheeks, and says, come on, just give me the biggest thing you guys got. No lube. Give me whatever you want. Do whatever you want to me.
Oh, man. I will back you on the fact that in this walk-on group chat that we talked about, those stories definitely are thrown around.
Absolutely.
And you definitely are saving the good ones, which, as you should. But what about...
Yeah, I was going to say, I think you know most of the really good ones that I probably can't say because I don't want Coach Marshall to hunt me down and kill me.
Yeah, if Coach Marshall somehow listened to this, that would be great. But safe to say we don't want that out there regardless. But I do want to hear more about you and JR. JR is the other walk-on that we've become close. Well, obviously, Zach's close friends with, but the other walk-ons have become close with. And they were together, basically. They were the duo, the dynamic duo of walk-ons. And they had a pretty special senior night. You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, it was a pretty incredible night. It started off, I knew it was going to be a fantastic night when, God, what's the referee's name? Blonde hair, Todd Lanner probably hates him because he thinks he screwed Kentucky at UNC game.
Higgins.
What's the ref's name? Higgins, John Higgins. So Higgins and I got a little history. I would like to, when you know how it is, when you get later in your walk-on career, you start getting ballsy. So I'm at the end of the bench, and in road games, sometimes I'd tell Higgins, like, damn, you really fucking blew that call. And sometimes he would laugh about it. Sometimes he'd tell me, Zach, like, turn around and go back to the huddle or I'm going to fucking tee you up. And so at this point, I'm feeling pretty good. We got a good relationship. So I see during warm-ups, Higgins walk out of the tunnel and he's the official, and I'm just like, yes, like, let's freaking go. I'm like, I knew you'd show up. I knew you loved me. And he gave me this little wink, and he's like, hey, just if you get in at the end, just put the ball down on the floor. I'll get you the free throw line. So we're kicking the shit out of Evansville, who, shout out to Todd at Kentucky, just handed Kentucky the home L. Oops. We're beating
shout out to
Evansville by like, yeah, shout out to the Valley. We're beating Evansville by like 20, so he puts JR and I in with like 4 or 5 minutes left. And I got to give love to JR first because this dude just gets hot and hits, like goes 3 for 3 from 3, just one after the other. Dunk, dunk, dunk. Crowd's just freaking going crazy. And then I was fortunate to get in on the action, a little baseline out of bounds underneath our own goal. Got the little over the top, had the little ISO, little back down, MJ, little half spin, shot fake. And sure enough, Higgins came through, blew that whistle, ball hits off the back side of the rim, front side of the rim. Shaq Morris, our starting 5-man, jumps up, and I think he's about to goaltend it. And I think I would have killed him for ruining my moment. Thank God he pulls his hands away. Ball drops in. Crowd goes wild. I give it the old fist pump. JR gives me the chest bump. Go to the line for the and one. Did miss the free throw. I will admit that.
No one remembers that.
A little disappointing. Exactly. I think I was so fired up. I don't think people realize how hard it is as a walk-on to make free throws at the end of a game when you've been sitting for like an hour and a half. Like, you're cold. Like, it's tough. I know you don't have that problem, but
you have said so many relatable things. The first thing that comes to mind is the first game. I have the same thing. I have a ref. I'm not going to say his name because he's the man. But he, same thing, told me, he goes, hey, because the first game that he reffed, I shot a pull-up 3 in transition and missed it, whatever. The next game, he goes, hey, man, you drive the lane, no pun intended. If you get in there, like, I'm calling a foul for you. You're going to the free throw line. So I don't think people know how great that is because most refs are just trying to get the hell out of there at that point in the game when the walk-ons are in. Like, calling nothing. Like, you can get raked and you're not getting it. Yeah, then that's the same ref who, just like you said, would come up to me during games and say, hey, man, get your fucking guys in line when we would run out to, like, half court to celebrate or whatever. Obviously, it's a joke, but he's still – and then after before the game, he'd give me a hug and be like, hey, how's your mom? I'll be like, you've never met my mom.
So
why are you missing my mom, sir?
Yeah, exactly, right?
I have a question for you, but I'm a huge college basketball junkie, obviously. So the first thing I wanted to do is congratulate you on your 6-time athletic director honor roll and your Shelly Cox KETV Leadership Award at the 2017 Wichita State postseason banquet. Very proud of you.
I appreciate that. I don't think many people know how much effort went into that award. Actually, I don't know if you mentioned it, but I did win I think it was like the Elite 12 Missouri Valley Conference Academic Award, awarded to the 12 highest GPAs in the conference. About one from each school. And sadly, I got that my senior year with a GPA of like 3.3. And I'm like, guys, what the fuck is going on? The rest of the team, like, are we serious? I've got the highest GPA of 3.3. We are fucked.
So everybody remembers their first. Let's talk about your first bucket. Where were you? Set the scene. Let's hear it.
She is a beaut, my friends. Here's the question though. Are we going first exhibition bucket, first bucket at all? Does exhibition buckets count?
No.
You know, this is the beauty of this podcast. You can do whatever you want, but no, exhibition doesn't count.
Wow, because that's a beauty. That was assisted by JR.
Oh, man. Well, maybe we can make an exception because that's walk-on to walk-on.
We'll make an exception. Go ahead.
Yeah. Wait, hey, intern, make the exception. Yeah, we're good. All right, yeah. You're good to go.
Okay. I think my first bucket was, I know this was my first one. I redshirted my freshman year, so didn't get to play that whole year, obviously. That next year against Division II Emporia State, get in there, little transition, sprint to the corner, know my role, JR, cross-court dime, 3, just cash money, just nothing but net. Should have gave it the old bow and arrow like Joey does, but didn't have that much swag as a redshirt freshman. I'm going to be honest. I don't remember my first real in-game bucket.
Oh, wow. Look at you. So many buckets you can't even keep track.
I know all 18 of those career points.
Well,
see, I don't know if JR's. I can't remember his. JR has like 80 career points.
Yeah, because JR was a real player for a little bit.
Yeah. That's insane.
Yeah, not fair. But I do. Okay, I can't miss out on the fact that your younger brother is now a walk-on has been a walk-on at Wichita State as he followed in your footsteps. What's the best piece of advice that you gave him?
Oh, the young lad. I think just warning him of like how intense Coach Marshall is and how brutal it was. And also like, if you're going to get in, do not fuck up. Like, you do not want to be that walk-on that, like, you get in and you screw the play and everybody's like, oh, my God, get him out. Somebody get him out. Get him the fuck off the floor. It's like nobody wants to be that guy. So I think I made it a point the whole summer before he got there of, like, trying to go over set plays with him and shit. But he's done a good job. He's got a better jumper than I do. So I won't be surprised if he knocks down a few tray balls this year when he gets in.
Yeah, it's not hard to have a better jumper than you, though.
On your your page on Wichita State basketball,
you have your own page. Did you know
your personal says son of Dave and Stephanie Bush, born September 16th, has a brother, graduated in 2017, Bachelor of Arts in Sports Management, and then it says averaged 22.8 points per game in high school, 9.6 rebounds, played in the KBCA All-Star Game, scoring 7 points, career high 34 points, 18 rebounds, and
Are you blushing yet?
Am I reading this correctly? You have the
there may be a little blood trickling down there.
You have
I may be getting excited. Yeah.
Eisenhower High School high jump record of 6 feet and 8 inches. Is that true?
Like, guys, I'm not gonna fucking lie. Like, I was low key a little bit the man in high school. Okay.
Wait, if we're talking high jump, I know that you can fly. What's your go-to dunk if you're in a dunk contest when at your peak?
Oh, well, 25 pounds ago, it was so I'm an awkward jumper. I'm right-handed, but I jump off my right leg. So my go-to in warm-up lines to just get all the brothers hype and like kind of, talk my shit was going off right foot, one-legged windmill, but same hand. So same foot, same hand.
Ooh.
Right foot, right hand windmill off one leg. That was the go-to right there.
Unconventional. Love it. Love it.
Yeah,
well,
and you know how everybody gets when the white boy walk-on like gets up and throws one down.
Oh yeah. Well, imagine me, the 5'11", 6 foot on a good day, walk on, throwing it up high in the air, letting it bounce and going up and dunk it. Like people, first of all, my teammates, they saw it a lot. Like I'm actually like pretty athletic, not to brag, but like the best thing would be I could see the fans going like, what the fuck just happened? That was my favorite thing.
It's the absolute best.
And like the OSU beat writers would be like, well, Joey just dunked in warm-ups. Didn't know he could do that. That was like every single game.
And that's, as a walk-on, that's your time to shine is warm-ups. Like,
oh my God.
You only have a certain number of dunks in you, being that, you're white and that your legs are probably not real strong. So you got to make the most of those opportunities.
Right.
You probably got about 5 good attempts and then you're done.
When I won the 3-point contest my sophomore year in our like little like midnight
humble brag.
Humble brag.
Humble brag.
When I won it, Mark Titus was actually the MC of that, and he interviewed me after for everyone to hear and goes, so what do you have to say to the fans after that performance? And I said, guys, make sure you get to warm-ups early because warm-ups are going to look a lot like that.
So I have a question. So what is the deal with you and Titus? Because I sense a little jealousy on Titus's part, maybe, and maybe that's just part of his like shtick. Like he's super dry and likes to think he's like the greatest thing to come out of Ohio State ever.
Yeah.
What's the deal with you?
There's jealousy on both ends, definitely.
Oh,
Titus jealous that Joey was in college at the time, and Joey jealous of Titus's book and all that kind of cool stuff.
Yeah.
I would say the main point would be that we butted heads because Titus was the king of go in there and don't do anything, and then I was the king of go in there and light it up and throw the ball out of bounds and try and alley-oop people and just like have fun out there. So that's like our little fun, back and forth that we always have. It's funny that we are very different because Titus never claimed to be this awesome basketball player, whereas like I like to think that I had some meaningful minutes. It's a little different. So there's a lot of back and forth between us, but we're good friends at the end of the day. It's not like him and Evan Turner or anything.
In the walk-on fraternity, Joey is the social chair and Titus is the risk manager.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
Oh, man. All right, Zach, appreciate you, man. This was a lot of fun. We'll definitely have you on for part 2, hopefully. Maybe even have you and JR together with a little merge the calls so we can hear some more stories between the two. How does that sound?
Love it. Thanks for having me, guys.
Absolutely. We'll talk to you soon, my man.
All right, see you, bro.
Peace.
We now welcome on to the Drive the Lane podcast for our Walk-On Chronicles episode. Former University of Missouri walk-on Brett Rau. Mr. Rau, welcome to the show. How are we feeling today?
Well, right now I'm a little down. We just lost a tough one on the road at Xavier. But when I got the text that you guys wanted me to come on the pod, gave me a little bright spot in the night. So I'm doing all right.
Yeah, that was a tough one to watch. My emotions, like I'm sure yours were too, all over the place during that one.
And I got to just sit and laugh at him, so it was great.
I was throwing stuff. I was yelling. The typical night watching the Mizzou basketball game.
That's a tough one because for those who didn't watch the game, Missouri didn't give the game away, but that's a game that they should steal and win, and that's what is, I'm sure, frustrating you guys the most because there's no business winning that game necessarily on the road against a ranked team, but the fact that you were in it, I was telling Brett before we started recording, hope is poison, and as a Bears fan, I know that. So when you get a little bit of hope, that's when you get really sad. So
100%. 100%. Can't say
my condolences.
Feels like Mitchell Smith's been on the team for 8 years, and he's lost to Xavier all of those 8 years.
Yeah.
All right, Brett. Well, why don't you give the people your background, how you became a walk-on, all that good stuff.
Well, mine was probably a little different than your regular preferred walk-on. Obviously, probably a little different than yours even, Joey. But out of high school, I was pretty trash, honestly. So I ended up going to hometown junior college, Elgin Community College, shout out them. But I went there my freshman year. Honestly, didn't play much, averaged like 4 points a game. On a pretty good team, we won 20 games, but didn't play much. And then my sophomore year is kind of actually when I started to become good. I actually practiced basketball for the first time in my life instead of just
it's amazing
going to actual practice like when I was required. But yeah, ended up being second team All-American that year, and honestly was just obviously the dream is to play Division I basketball, and that was obviously what I wanted for the longest time. And I honestly was just sending out emails like left and right to these Division I schools, high major, low major, whatever. Had some D2 offers and stuff, NAIAs that I was looking at seriously and stuff. But I ended up just getting an email back from Rob Fulford, who was an assistant at Missouri at the time, who's now on staff at University of Akron, where I am now. So it kind of came full circle. But he reached back out to me and told me to come down for a visit and play with the guys and everything. And I went down and did that, and then they told me probably about a week later that they'd take me as a preferred walk-on. So not your conventional story, not really in a way recruited as a walk-on at all, but it ended up working out in my favor.
No, totally. Everyone's story is unique, whether you're a walk-on or a scholarship player. And we have a nice little mix on this Walk-On Chronicles episode of dudes who were really good players that walked on because they were great basketball players, dudes who had to take different routes like you did, different routes like you did, and then guys who maybe were connected to the staff already, and that's how they got there. So it's fun to hear, everyone's unique perspective of their journey and stuff. Is there a specific story maybe that stands out mostly to you and over your years at Mizzou?
Cough, cough. Florida State.
As he is alluding to, the Florida State game was our NCAA tournament game. And to give a little backstory, that was the year after we won 9 games. So obviously not one of the greatest years in the history of Mizzou basketball. But then we ended up getting a new staff and everything, got some good recruits, some good players.
Yeah.
A few played, a few didn't. But yeah, we ended up going to the NCAA tournament, and I was fortunate enough to play a career high in minutes in that game. 13 minutes in the NCAA tournament game for a walk-on of any sort is probably a lot, but especially for the journey I started from when I got to Mizzou. I think I played 7 minutes my whole junior year, and then I finished my last game of my career in the NCAA tournament with 13 minutes, and I got an and one, so that's pretty memorable in my book. My kids will definitely know about that, and they'll probably think I was a little better than I was, but I mean, that's how it goes, right?
Yeah, well, it's safe to say that you'll say not only did you play in the NCAA tournament, but you played 30 minutes, not 13, and you didn't have 3 points. You had 15, and you guys won the game. So that's easy. So that's how it goes. I was going to say, not to rain on your parade, but safe to say that a walk-on playing 13 minutes in the NCAA tournament game, you guys did not move on to the next round.
We did not. Fans aren't always pleased to see a walk-on in those type of moments. They're thinking, well, we have this guy and this guy to put in, but I tried my best. I did some good, a little bad.
I tried my best.
Well, what was interesting about that game is you said, like, this guy should be in, that guy be in. Mizzou didn't have this guy or that guy to be in. You were literally like the next guy up.
At that point, yeah. Actually, funny story. Most people probably do not know this. Probably nobody. We go into halftime down, I think we were down 19, maybe 20 on the dot. And, I mean, obviously, you're not thinking good thoughts at that point. It is your first NCAA tournament for the program in 5 years. I'm down 20. And out of, middle of the coach's talk, he's like, Rau, you're starting for Porter in the second half. And, he just kept talking. But in that second, I'm like, wait, what? What just happened?
I need to stretch.
And I didn't get some shots, coach. But yeah, so at that moment, I was like, I was ready, to be honest, because I played in the first half. That's when I scored and stuff. But that just caught me way off surprise. And then I get out to the court, we bring in the huddle to draw up the first play or whatever. And he literally just draws everybody's number up there, and it's not up there. And I hadn't heard anything, so I'm like, Wolf looks at me. He literally looked at me in mouth. Tell him. I'm like, what do you expect me to tell Coach Mike right now, to put me in the game over Michael Porter Jr. to start the second half of the NCAA tournament game?
Oh man!
But
and what ended up happening?
I did not start the second half, and not a word was said to me about it. Which was fine. I mean, it didn't affect me in any way. But
did you ever talk?
Just kind of funny how it played out.
Did you ever talk to Coach Martin about that?
I did not, but I probably will one of these days when I see him next couple of times. We'll see. It's going to come up at some point.
I'm watching that game, and you're in, and I go, God damn it! Why the hell is Brett Rau in? And then you get the and one, and I'm like, yeah, keep Brett Rau, and we're going to come back and win this game.
See, Dad, I told you that's why Brett Rau's
going to be the best story in the history of sports. And then it's a 22-point game at half. Porter's signing his NBA draft papers at halftime. It was just I can't even imagine how you felt, because I was pretty emotional myself.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely a very exciting and I don't know if I'd call it a sad moment, but definitely a lot of up and down in that game emotion-wise.
So, Brett, that obviously is a crazy story, ginormous moment with kind of the season on the line. But I'm guessing you remember your first bucket, and I'm guessing it was not a similar environment. Set the scene for your first career bucket.
First career bucket was against Wagner University.
Wagner.
It was at home. We were up. I actually got in with like 9 minutes to go. The second game of the season, got in with like 9 minutes to go, and I'm like, wow, I'm getting in 9 minutes to go. I played 7 minutes all last year. Like, what am I about to do out here?
About to get a triple-double.
And so whatever, I played like the whole time, like gets down. I haven't scored or anything, haven't taken a shot. I got a couple of rebounds, gave up offensive rebounds, coach is pissed. But then it's like I think it's our last possession of the game that we're going to get before, you're seeing, as a walk-on, you're seeing the shot clock, like see how many possessions you might have left.
Oh, yeah.
Planning it out a little bit.
Totally.
As Joey knows that, I'm
Oh, my
sure.
God, that's all too familiar.
And I think Wolf had just hit a shot right before that. He didn't get until like later in the game, so like I was like, man, I need to get a shot up at least. And Terrence Phillips actually ended up getting the assist, if you're going to give him an assist. I took one dribble, but he drove in the middle of the lane from the right wing, hit me in the, like, I guess now would be like the nipple corner, if that makes sense.
The nipple corner?
The break where the three-point line is.
Okay. All right. They call that the nipple
we
corner?
We can cut that out.
Nope, that's
with the Mavs, we called it that.
Okay.
So.
Not to brag.
But
Brag. You work for the Mavs.
Humble brag. But yeah, I caught it. Little shot fake, step back three in the corner, nothing but net. Honestly, wasn't sure if it was going to airball or switch when I shot it. Ended up switching. Didn't really celebrate or anything because it was the end of the game. We were up 40. I didn't feel that great about it, but
you had been in the game for 8 minutes. They thought you were just a normal player.
Yeah, 8 minutes. Haven't done anything of note. And I did it. So then it looks like I'm just the scrub that scored at the end of the game, which I technically was. But
I have a question for you, and I think the truth to this answer may have never come out before, so you could break the news.
Whoa.
What did the team think about the Michael Porter situation?
As him, like, signing as a recruit, or the injury, or?
As in, he comes out of the game, and for the next 2 weeks, everyone's speculating what's going to happen next.
I mean, as a team, we weren't obviously we were like hoping he would get better soon and hoping it wasn't serious or whatnot. We were kind of just in limbo, just waiting, but it's not like we weren't really pissed or anything like that. Like, we knew we still had a really good team, and it was early and we were playing well. We had just beat Iowa State without a first game of the year. So I think our outlook was very good. I don't think anybody was, obviously we were all hoping he would be okay and be able to play before he ended up coming back. But there's really not like an underlying backstory to it all of emotions and stuff, if that's what you're wondering.
Fair enough. We were just searching for a headline.
Breaking news. Brett
Rau was pissed about Michael Porter.
Hates Michael Porter.
All right, Brett. Well, thank you for coming on. That was perfect. Exactly what we were looking for. Looking forward to having you on again in the future.
Yeah, I appreciate it, boys. Always a pleasure. You guys keep doing your thing. Everybody go listen to the pod.
Thank you.
It's going to be bigger than it is one day.
Absolutely.
Famous people.
Hit us up when you're in Chicago.
I will for sure. If you come back to Ohio State, let me know.
Of course, go Zips.
We're going in 2 weeks.
Yeah, we're going in 2 weeks. If you want to come up for the Penn State game, even though you're super busy.
Yeah, I'm quite busy right now, but
go Zips.
Hit me up anyways. Go Zips. Appreciate the time, boys.
Absolutely, you're the man. Talk to you soon.
All right, see you.
Peace. We now welcome on to the Drive the Lane podcast, walk-on extraordinaire, Mike Latulip, former walk-on at Illinois, former scholarship player at Wright State. Shout out to the Raiders, who are playing as we speak. But yeah, Mike was a good buddy of mine. He grew up in the same area as me. Mike, how you doing?
I'm doing well, man. I appreciate you guys having me on.
Absolutely. Tell us a little bit about your background, your story, how you became a walk-on.
Okay. And I know you and I discussed this a couple of weeks ago, but just a refresher for you. So coming out of high school, had some mid-major offers and decided that I wanted to test myself at the highest level, and so I spoke to Bruce Weber, and he offered me a preferred walk-on spot. At the time, they didn't have any scholarships available, so I decided to go that route. And about 6 months into my commitment to Illinois, Bruce Weber got canned. So I was left with no coach at that point. And like I told Joey, it was really down to Shaka Smart, Brad Stevens, and John Gross. Two of those names I had heard of, one I had not, and fittingly, the one I had not became my head coach. And, obviously into my career, about halfway through, earned a scholarship similar to the man that I'm talking to right now, Joey Lane. So that's kind of how my career, how I got to Illinois. And then, there's stories on stories for my time there. But the one that I think I would highlight the most, just from the most walk-on story of them all, would be, it was the start of my junior year. I was in the summer, and it was an open gym, classic open gym.
Classic.
I think we were getting towards the end of open gym, so the chippiness that had started in open gym had carried on towards the end. And me and one of my teammates, Aaron Cosby, he kind of just, we were going back and forth. I think the sparks flew early, if you will, and it became like a shove. I mean, I remember I drove to the basket and I was up in the air, and he like shoved me into the stanchion under the basket. So I was like, all right, well, that's a start. And then we got into, really going back and forth. So I think I hit a three, he came down and hit a shot. I hit a three, he came down and missed a shot. I hit another three. So now he's upset. And
the walk-on's kicking his ass.
Yeah, and to set the scene, we have one of my good friends, Cameron Liss, who was with his family on the top balcony watching the open gym. So I'm looking through the eyes of Cameron Liss right now, who probably was just told by the coaches, "Oh, that's our other walk-on down there, Mike, the other, one of about three white guys on the floor. That's the other one. So you'll probably be pretty tight with him." And I would assume that no more than 5 minutes after my coach telling him that, this is after these 3 straight threes that I've hit, and Aaron comes down, and I can see like he's getting a head full of steam, and he lowers his shoulder and he just like knocks me to the ground. Probably would have been a charge, but it's open gym.
No charge,
and
open gym.
I'm not gonna cry out for a push off and for it to go the other way. So then we go down to the other end again, and I forget what happened. I might have scored again. Just in one of those zones, and,
I know that all too well.
You know the feeling. I know you know the feeling.
So does Andrew.
And so I get to the other side of the court, and it was almost deja vu. I could tell he was head full of steam again. I'm like, he's going to try to run me over again, and I'll be damned if I let it happen again. And cue the dramatic music. He comes down head full of steam, lowers his shoulder, and at this point I like stand him up. So I put my 2 forearms out, and as he lowers his shoulder, I kind of double forearm hit him back. So I just kind of like stand him up. I'm kind of standing up too. And Joey knows this because Joey knows kind of the type of person that I am. So there's no surprise here that this wasn't my first mix up or mixing it up with somebody. So you know the look on someone's face before it's about to happen. So he kind of brushes back and then gives me this look. And I don't know if I physically made the expression, but it was kind of like here we go. He's going to punch me in the face. So I literally just kind of, before I could even gather my thoughts, there's just about 4 knuckles on my forehead. Like, it was one of those things I always picture, you a punch in the face, just a clean, like, cheek, like knuckles to cheekbone. And, you can kind of, your face. Yeah. Your face gives a little bit, and you're like, all right, well, this was just knuckles to forehead. And I remember Nana Egwu, who was our 7-foot, 250-pound center at the time, he was like our leader. He went in to break it up, but what he didn't do was control his body. So he knocked me to the ground. And now I'm trying to get my wits about me, and I'm laying on the ground. And like I come to, and I look up, and now the kid who just punched me is standing over me and gives me another one to the forehead again. I don't know what the deal with the forehead was. I don't know. I like
gotta have a 5 head by now. Oh, jinx!
Yep. That's synergy. That's synergy right there.
Please don't steal my
podcast. Yeah, I don't know if he was like. I don't know. I don't know if he was thinking, don't want to break his nose, don't want to break his jaw. So I think the path of least resistance here is probably a skull.
CTE. Just give him some CTE.
Yeah. We'll I hope he forgets about this. Was probably what was going on. So he gives me another one to the face. So he's 2 for 2 here. I mean, at this point, I think if it was broken up at this point. I say that. I mean, who knows? I probably wouldn't have thrown a punch, to be honest, because I don't know where it's going to go from there. Like, I could throw another punch, but then I'm like, all right, now what? Now does everyone back off and let us duke it out? Because at that point, I don't like my odds.
And
I would have to start going like...
Cameron Liss's parents are the only adults in the room.
Cameron Liss's parents are standing up top, probably absolutely mortified.
As they should.
Like, wait, that's the kid? That's the only other walk-on who just got his face pounded into the hardwood. But the funniest part about it was, well, Paris Parham came down, our assistant coach, and he said, open gym's over, it's done, end it. And so we come down, and now we have to lift. So we had open gym, and then we had a lift. So it wasn't like, hey, like a classic open gym at a rec center. It's like, he punched me, whatever, and now I can get in my car and drive off. No.
And never see him again.
No, now we go to the rack. We head to the rack, and he's spotting me for bench and doing all that stuff. So he's walking towards like out of the gym, and he's like, well, let's settle this in the locker room. Let's go to the locker room. Let's finish this in the locker room. Like, what does finish this mean? Like, what is? Let me ask.
Finish it sounds like a couple more shots to the forehead.
Finish it, man. I'm like, dude, you can. I mean, I'm already seeing double, so I don't know like what finish it means. If you just want me to go blind, it's a whole nother story. But so we had to go lift, and I'm yelling. This is like my comeback to him. He's like, bitch ass, we're going, hey, come into the locker room. And I'm like, and my like retaliation's like, hey bro, we got to lift. Like, what's up? Like, what's up? We got to lift. Like, that's my like, hey man, let's make sure we're on. Yeah. What's up, bro? Like, I'm about to clean 215. But he was like, that was like my trash talk was like, hey man, what's up? Let's not be late to this lift. Like etiquette, man. Let's go.
Come on.
Yeah, let's be punctual, man. Come on. So after the lift, so the next day, I don't even think I told you this part, Joey. So I get called into Gross's office.
Wait, is this breaking news?
And he calls me in. This is breaking news. This is completely new material. But Gross calls me into his office, and I'm ready for the whole, hey, what happened yesterday was unacceptable. Make sure cooler heads prevail next time. Blah 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 blah. No, I got sat down, and Gross goes, because Cameron Liss told me this at one point. Cameron Liss's family got pulled into a meeting after that, and it was kind of like a "this doesn't usually happen" thing. And then I guess he was told that Gross went like, that's just Mike. That's just Mike being Mike down there. Like, I'm like, Mike being Mike. I was a punching bag. Like,
That's
so I mean, he acted like I was like, that's just Mike being Mike, just taking punches to the cerebellum, and he basically like pulled me into his office and goes, "Well, you need to go apologize to Aaron." I go, "What?" I'm like, I can't count backwards from 10, and I gotta go apologize. So I went downstairs and like walked onto the court, and I knew like the coaches may have been like watching from up top. And I walked, yeah, and I walked down there, and I think for the record I didn't apologize.
Why would you?
Because I knew that it wouldn't have mattered one way or the other to him. Like, I mean, me being like, I don't even think it would have made sense. I think he would have been like, wait, why is he apologizing? Like, hey man, sorry if I hurt your hand. Sorry if I might have broken your wrist. Yeah. So, I mean, the funniest part is Cam just being a part of all this and being upstairs like, oh wow, this is Big Ten basketball. And all of a sudden I'm just getting an absolute knuckle sandwich. But yeah, dude, it was wild. And it carried on to Wright State too. I took a couple licks there too. I mean, it's just I don't know. Face is an absolute magnet for punches.
Some people have punchable faces. I would say when I first...
I never thought I was one of those guys.
That's what I was going to say. When I first met you, I didn't pin you as a punchable face guy, but clearly you are, whether you like it or not. So.
This comes with no disrespect to you or Joey, especially because of where my athletic career has taken me. I think it sums up a walk-on pretty well that we say, give us your best walk-on story, and it's about an open gym with another walk-on. I think that kind of sums up walk-ons right there.
Including another walk-on.
Well, yeah, to be fair, I wanted to make sure that my walk-on story had as much walk-on flavor to it as possible. I mean, there's plenty. I mean, there's plenty more stories. I mean, I think this one was funny because it was through my eyes as a walk-on, and then through the eyes of a future walk-on up top was just it was perfect. But the punchable faces, that's the tough part for me. I always envisioned it to be like square face, maybe like a tad pudgy face, square face. I don't think I really embody either of those, and yet here we are.
Oh man,
here we are, and I got about 4 or 5 punches to the face to my name. So,
well, Mike, I will say, out of all the guys that we are interviewing for this episode, you are probably, almost definitely the best playing walk-on in terms of, athletic ability, where they ended up. Like, no other guys were contributing on Division I teams really. Do you remember your first bucket? And were you excited, or were you like, nah, there's more to come?
First bucket, so regular season. We'll go regular season now. I'm not going to count. Actually, my first bucket was waved off by moving screen.
Who set the illegal screen?
Ibi Jimde was his name. Straight from Mali, Africa. He actually was. That's not me being tongue in cheek there. But he, I came off like a pin down. It was actually against Lewis in an exhibition game. And it's a little hometown flavor. Not hometown, but Romeoville, close enough. And came off a pin down and fell off the hands. Oh, my God. Off the hands, I'm like, that's nylon. And literally, as it's like a third of the way to the basket, I'm like, well, that's my first bucket there. And I hear a whistle, and I'm like, well, I didn't get fouled. So it's got to be a moving screen. So it was a moving screen, and then ended up coming back down the court. I don't know if it was a possession or two later, and actually got the bucket. But in the regular season, we opened up at St. Francis before we flew to the Maui. Before I played a game in the Maui, and Jay Billis was saying on the broadcast that a year in the weight room would do me well. That's what he said. So
was he wrong? Probably not.
No, he wasn't. I had a 2-bed, 2-bath in the weight room that summer. Absolutely carved out real estate. But so St. Francis was our first
We
game.
got the joke.
So St. Francis was the first game, and that was I played actual minutes. I think my first bucket came. There was like maybe 11 minutes left in the first half, so it felt real. And like the place, I was telling Joey this when he came on my podcast, but the place was just going crazy. And like I said, like I told Joey, I hated that. I appreciated it, but I didn't like it because I was like, I came here to play. I came here to like play a lot. And
I told you, he's
everyone
a different kind of walk-on, guys. I told you.
He was just like, they're doing like a whole. So like when we played Gonzaga, this guy did like the air guitar on the. No, you know Rem.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So Rem did the air guitar after a 3, but for some reason, everybody thought it was me. Because we were playing Gonzaga, I don't know. And for whatever reason, the rest of my career, every time I hit a shot, everybody on the sideline was doing the air guitar. I was like, what is going on?
I love that.
They're like, yeah. They're like, yeah, Mike, the air guitar. I'm like, I never did that. Like, I literally never did that one time.
Never, ever.
So, never have I ever done the air guitar. So, yeah, that's long story short.
No, that's awesome, man. Okay, before we let you go, give your podcast a quick plug. I was on Mike's podcast a couple weeks ago. It's awesome. It is just Mike, but Mike knows more about sports and basketball than the average human. Absolutely worth a listen. Mike, let them know where they can find it. Yeah,
Joey, that's a hell of an intro. The full 94 podcast with the full 94 podcast with myself. Obviously, I've had an array of guests. There's been 2 guests so far. We're still in our infancy because we did say, and obviously Apple, Spotify, all platforms, but we did say, what episode is this for you guys?
11, 10 or 11?
11, 12 counting our
live
show.
You're, like we said, Joey, anything under 10 is a new podcast. Totally. So you guys are no longer a new podcast. This will be my 5th episode coming out here this week. So still in its infancy. So yeah. I mean, if any of the drive the lane civilians want to make their way over to hear something,
want to drive the full 94 with you.
If they want to drive the entire length of the court with me, not just the lane, if they want to go the full 94, you come on over. I don't discriminate. Any type of audience is welcome. I don't care if they're Buckeyes or. I actually do. The episode I have coming out soon. I do touch on the Buckeyes a little bit. So we'll be on the lookout for that.
You don't have to talk in so much code. I'll come on, no problem.
We should do like a hybrid episode, it would be fun. A crossover episode.
Whenever you come back to Chicago, I don't know if you ever do or not, but whenever you do, we'll make it happen for sure.
I mean, it's got to be. I'm assuming I just the roots are so embedded there. I got to be back soon.
100%. All right.
But I'll let you know, man.
Absolutely. You're the best. You're the man. Listen to Mike's podcast. It's awesome. He's an awesome, as you can tell, he's got a bunch of stories and he saved a ton for his own podcast. So give it a listen. Mike Latulip, walk-on extraordinaire, by far the best basketball player that will be interviewed in this episode. Mike, thanks again for coming on, man.
I appreciate you guys having me on.
Thanks, man. We hope you enjoyed the Walk-On Chronicles. We have some very exciting, very cool guests coming up after this week of going to Columbus for the Penn State game. We're doing our own little road trip.
And once again, if you guys are listening all the way to the end, here's another sneak peek at who one of the special guests might be. There's a state that we have to drive through. You know what it's called by now. The Hoosiers play there. It has nothing to do with Indiana.
Evansville plays there.
The guest has nothing to do with Indiana other than the fact that he played college basketball in the state of Indiana.
Well, that's just one of the guests that we're getting.
And the other guest played high school basketball in Indiana.
And the other guests we're getting are still to be determined.
Yeah. So if you're listening this far, I had a ton of fun on this interview. Andrew didn't have a ton of fun, but that's okay.
I'm tired, man. I need to go to bed. It's 7:15. I got to go to bed.
Oh, my God. But, yeah, I'm a professional podcaster. Andrew has a real job, so he's tired all day. It's just stupid. But, anyway, we love you guys. Thanks for listening. Let us know what you think of this one.
High Street Tees.
Shout out to High Street Tees. Go use our promo code DTL15, get 15% off. We're excited for what's next with this podcast. Shout out to Lettermen Row. We will talk to you guys soon.
Buckle up. Drive the lane.
Drive the lane.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe below to get the latest videos from Lettermen Row.
We got Letterman Live, we've got the practice report, we got rapid reaction. Hey, and you know we got Buck IQ with Zach Bourne.
For sure. We got recruiting breakdowns with Berm. We got whatever you need. Ohio State football and Ohio State athletics, we've got you covered here at Lettermen Row.